Since Brock Purdy took over as a starting quarterback, the 49ers averaging over 34 points per game. A far different story today, only finding the end zone once on that Christian McCaffrey touchdown and putting up a paltry 19 total points. But that was more than enough with another fantastic defensive performance from San Francisco, limiting the Cowboys to less than 300 yards of total offense and picking off Dak Prescott twice as they lock up the win over their longtime rivals and advance to the NFC Championship game.
That's pretty cool to see the clock at 0, and then you see like the Niners over the Cowboys. That's pretty sweet in the playoffs. Just so proud of the team, and playoff football is not easy. So to go and to pull off a win like that against a great team like Dallas, and now going to the NFC Championship, it means a lot to us. And for myself, when I take a step back, it's pretty cool.
It was a defensive battle for sure. I looked up like third, fourth quarter, and the yards were exactly the same. The only difference in the game was really the turnovers. I think we had 2, they had 1, and that was the difference in the game. We knew it was going to be a dogfight, and that's what it was.
Yeah, we knew going into it it's going to be a really big challenge. They have great players, they have a great scheme, great coach that gets the guys going, and we knew it was going to be a challenge. But no, they're playing well, but we just keep playing Niner ball and hammering away, and eventually it's going to come through.
We now bring in our Sean Cunningham to help break this down, and I'll put it on a tee for you. Give me the stat we've been talking about.
The stat is they're heading to their 3rd NFC Championship in 4 seasons. Who would have thought? It's almost as a team of destiny in a way, who gets a shot at redemption not once but twice, and here goes, off to Philly.
And I think the biggest story of destiny is the fact that you're on your 3rd-string quarterback and you're one of the last 4 teams standing in all the NFL. But Brock Purdy didn't have a great game. This looked like the best defensive front he's gone against since he took over as the starter.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also the 49ers defense, who we've been talking about all year long, is what a juggernaut this team is. They've shown that they can win when Purdy has a bad game. And I think they needed to prove it to themselves. They also needed to prove it to this fan base because everyone's so high on Brock Purdy, and rightfully so. He's been amazing. But what happens if he isn't the Brock Purdy we've seen through the first 7 games of the season? Of his season, I should say, since stepping in for Jimmy Garoppolo. This was that game. He struggled. He did not look good. Even the run game was a little bit wonky at first. The defense carried them to victory, set up points on the board. Robbie Gould, special teams did their job, and there's a lot to like if you're Kyle Shanahan heading into Philly, but a lot you have to clean up.
You talk about that Brock Purdy struggled some, and certainly he didn't put up the kind of numbers, wasn't the performance that we've seen, but that running game was really having a hard time until Christian McCaffrey found the end zone for that 1 touchdown. But, the offense as a whole just looked pretty off, but they're able to hang their hat on this defense. 2 turnovers, and how about Diamador Lenore, back-to-back games in the playoffs with an interception?
Yeah, and he's kind of taken the reins a little bit from Tashawn Gibson. He's a guy who stepped up so big in that secondary, and you got Lenore doing his thing. Fred Warner comes out with a pick as well, and it's great too. Going back to Purdy just for a second. Even though he struggles, he's not creating turnovers for this offense, so he managed the game well. I don't want to be that overseen because even though he did struggle, he didn't wet the bed. He didn't do what Dak Prescott did, which was force the turnovers, throw 2 turnovers in that first half. San Francisco capitalizes, and that defense, all they needed is on a tee. They come and make adjustments. Really solid win for this team.
Because the Cowboys, they struck first. They have that Dak Prescott to Dalton Schultz touchdown. But then down here, this is where I think the defense showed up the most. You have that Ray McLeod fumble on that punt return, and they recover the ball right here in this red zone. They're in the red zone, it seemed like, or right near there. An easy scoring opportunity for them, but the defense limits them to 3 points. And I felt like that series kind of turned the whole feel of the game.
Well, what I really like, too, is the way they closed out. The defense had to go 2 stands. They go 4 and out, forced Dallas to go 4 and out before the 2-minute warning, and then it's right back where you wanted to be. In control, Dak Prescott again. They've got to manage clock in a pressure situation in the playoffs for a 2nd straight year against the Niners, and they look completely rattled by this defense. And how about Eric Armstead? My goodness, he missed that sack on Dak Prescott in the end zone that could have probably just sealed the deal right there. Spin move, missed him. He's like, trying not to get a penalty. He's like, I should have just killed him.
He said, I should have just smacked him.
Yeah, smacked him.
He felt like he let one get away. So now the Niners and us, we're all going to Philadelphia for the NFC Championship game. So my question to you, Pats or Geno's?
I've been told other places to go, but since you put me on the spot, I don't care. Either one. Either one will be fine. I say we do both. Why not?
And we're going to hit up a third one as well. Jim's Cheesesteaks. I've been to Philly a couple of times. That's the one that the locals say to check out. All the tourists know about Pat's and Gino's, but the real ones, they go to Jim's. But we're going to go on a cheesesteak tour in about a week as the Niners get set to take on the Eagles for a berth in the Super Bowl. Kirsten, let's send it back to you.